So Duke is going to be giving us an amazing tax and finance workshop. Some of you may have seen some of his reels on Instagram. I was having a little look earlier. They are fantastic. So really pleased to introduce you. If you want to follow him on Instagram, it's at Duke Loves Taxes. And I'm just going to hand it over to you now, Duke.
Sweet. Thank you for that introduction. I checked out your page too, so it's pretty tight. And I'm like, I saw the whole like cream
Thank you.
pie whipped cream. Like, that's so cool. And it's crazy. It's so cool to put yourself out there. Content, I mean, I think we all know here, content is so important. I mean, it's just like it can really just change your life overnight. Little background about us. So I own a tax and accounting firm. We specialize in the entertainment industry and creators and adult creators. So we have seen like this overnight wealth just from here to there. And generally, that's where we step in and we kind of help. So my goal here today is really just to help you guys, right? And I'm all about just treating this as like a conversation, right? We're just here chopping it up. I'm going to share some things with you guys, and if you have questions along the way, feel free to ask those. Now, I'm so excited for this. I'm actually really excited for this. So thank you guys for having me out. I just enjoy speaking to adult entertainers out of anyone. However, okay, so I'm actually going to need you guys' help. Okay, everyone is in here. So the first thing I need help with, right? I need to make sure you guys can hear me because I see the chat. I don't know. You can just put a one or just put the number one. Yep. Okay, Gabby says you hear me. Mia, Char, yes, Ramona. Uh, Paradise. Okay, Pineapple. Oh, we even got the support in Kim. Okay, you guys can hear me. Sweet. Okay, that was the first thing I need help with. Next, however, I've had like the weirdest like screen share. Let me see. Let's see. Zoom has been so weird. People are like, I always see a tree. However, boom, I got it. Okay, can you guys see my screen now? It should say something like patient chart. Let me know if you guys see that, right? Yep. Okay, cool. So, that's all I get to hear. So, I need your guys' help. Oh my goodness. Okay, so check this out. So, this person's name is Gabby, right? Now, Gabby came to me. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I need so much help." So I'm going to be pretty much like the nurse, the doctor. You guys are going to help me out with this patient, okay? And I'm going to take you along this journey, right? So we're all going to become doctors and nurses and tax professionals today. And I need you guys' help because I want to take you along this journey and kind of show you how we're going to help Gabby. So first, I'm going to give you background about Gabby, right? Gabby came, she's like, oh my gosh, I need help, right? Her chief complaints are she has not filed her taxes in 3 years. She's interested in an LLC, but maybe just does not know how. She's also just terrified of just taxes, right? She knows it's there. She's making all this money. And taxes are kind of terrifying. And so we kind of have some notes on her, right? She's made about 2 million in 2025. She is the first in her family to make this much. Actually, quick question, guys, because I generally see this a lot, and I'm kind of wondering if it's in here as well. Is there anyone in here, maybe you're the first in your family to be self-employed or be an entrepreneur, not go the traditional route of like a W-2? Anyone in here, like, yeah, we have one paradise. Yeah, sure. Yes all of this is honestly I see it all the time. So you guys may be able to relate with Gabby, right? She's never done their taxes. She's an adult entertainment, terrified of the IRS. Anyone in here also kind of like, oh my gosh, taxes? And you may be in another country, right? But we have here in the States, the IRS, terrified in the IRS, but it's also interested in investing. So we're going to help her with all of that. So really the agenda, I'm gonna make it super simple. I want to really go over the foundations of things, right? We're going to talk about what are the most basic things that you need, right? As far as bookkeeping and LLC. Another thing is going to be write-offs, and what are they, right? I mean, what is that? What's a write-off? And we'll talk about some strategies to save on thousands. However, before we get started, Gabby did tell me one thing. She was like, Duke, I said, what's up, Gabby? She's like, man, look, you see my shirt? I say, yeah, what's up with your shirt? She's like, can we get some color? So I said, sure, let's get some color. So let's do that. So real quick, guys, if you guys, what color should Gabby, which color should be her shirt? I mean, we can choose from, I mean, what colors do we have? We have red, we have blue, we have green. What colors are you guys feeling for Gabby? Just help me out with that. Someone said purple, someone said pink. Let me see if we got those colors. Okay, we have red, blue, green, yellow. What is it? Pink, blue. I see blue. Okay, so let's make her shirt blue. Yay! Gabby's. I wish we could put a smile on her face. Boom. Okay, the next thing Gabby said is, "Oh my gosh, Duke, look at my skirt." I said, "Yeah, that skirt looking a little dull." So, what color should we make her skirt? We have red, we have green, we have yellow. We can do blue. Oh, black. Oh, that is bold right there. I guess we're going with a black. I like that. Okay, that's player. That is nice. Cool. Is Gabby looking a little bit better now, right? Like, all right. Someone said you guys can't see my screen. Can you guys see my screen real quick? Because I'm like that's quite embarrassing. I'm like, oh, share my screen. Okay, you guys can see it. Ooh, because I have, trust me, I have done some calls and I have done some meetings and I have been talking and no one didn't say anything. Okay. So well, I'm sorry you can't see the screen. However, I can kind of like describe it to you. It's this cool girl. She's wearing a turtleneck, blue long sleeve shirt, and a black skirt, and she looks fire. That's what she looks like. So let's jump into this, guys, right? Because Gabby's looking a little bit better, and we can kind of get a little bit more serious. I just want to like, you know, just like breaking the ice. Okay, so the first thing, right? So Gabby's come to us. So the first thing we really want to figure out, right, is, and you guys may have heard of this and may have seen it or heard of the term. One of the things we like to first figure out is, does Gabby have an LLC, right? Now, LLC stands for limited liability company, right? Let's say Gabby over here. All right, here's Gabby, right? Hey, right, she's still a little sad, right? Because we haven't helped her out. I think we gave her some blue, and then she gave her black, right? That, oh no, that's still boom. Okay, cool. There's Gabby with her blue blouse and black skirt, black skirt. Okay, cool. So now Gabby doesn't have an LLC, right? And what an LLC stands for, it stands for limited liability company. Okay, that's what it stands for. Now, an LLC by itself does not help you save on tax, right? A lot of people think that, all right? It doesn't help you save on tax. You may have heard of something else called an Inc., which is incorporated. They're very similar. If you guys grew up in the 90s or millennials, may have heard of this movie called Monsters, Inc. Uh, these are very similar entity structures, right? So we want to first see if they have an LLC or an Inc. Now, what an LLC does, okay? This is probably the most important thing that what I need you guys to understand what it does. It really only does one primary thing, okay? So let's say it gives you protection, right? So what an LLC does is this fancy word. If you guys are taking notes, you can write this down. Called a corporate veil, right? Okay. So what an LLC does, it's going to give Gabby like this corporate veil, like this protection, right? Oh wow. think we're seeing an expression change on Gab. Well, why do we have a lightsaber? Gabby, what's up with this lightsaber? So look at it, her Gabby's expression. Okay, she's no more frowning. She's looking a little bit better over here. I think you guys are doing very well or treating this patient very well. They went from, sad face to a straight face because Gabby now has a corporate bill, and that is what an LLC does. Now, that may be a fancy word, so I'll briefly describe what that means. So, let's say in the event that Gabby is making content, and it could be in association with a brand, or it could be, and we've seen this a lot where people have their content stolen. It's not the best thing, but let's just say something goes wrong, right? And generally, guys, you're going to see this, especially when you start making more money, people are going to come after that, right? Even if you did nothing wrong, if they know you have money, they are going to come after it, right? So it's always good if you do not have one. I would next steps after this call, try to get yourself one. If you want our help, we do LLCs as well. We can definitely help you with that. However, when you start growing, people, they're just disgusting. It just happens, and it's going to cost you attorney fees and things like that. Now, however, let's say they go to court, right? Here's the court thing, the little hammer, little, I think they call it a gravel. Order in the court, right? And there's a judgment against Gabby, right? So not only does Gabby make content, but she also has a home. She may have a car. I don't know why her car looks like that, but that is her car. She may have a personal bank account, let's say with Chase. In the event that something happens, she gets sued, there's a judgment, there's a claim against her. What that corporate veil does is protect those personal assets. So they cannot try to, come and take it, right? Let me get your bank account. Let me get your car. Let me get what does she have over there? Her house, right? That's essentially what a corporate veil does, and essentially what an LLC does. It protects you against creditors and judgments filed against you in the event that something goes south. And so you've worked so hard to maybe get into the home you're in. You maybe worked so hard to have the vehicle that you own. You maybe worked so hard putting the money into your savings account. You do not want that touch in the event that something goes south in your business or while you're creating content. And that's what an LLC does. It protects your personal assets. If everyone understands LLC protects personal assets, just drop me a letter P in the chat. So make sure you guys know. Drop a P. Kim dropped a P. Paradise, Mia, Savannah, Ramona, Char. Okay, we got some P's in the house. We got some P's. Okay, so that's it. That's what an LLC does. At the very basic level, it protects your personal assets, right? So now, one way that people, and this is very common, okay? So this is really important. There's something where you damage your corporate veil, right? Remember, we have our corporate veil. It's so nice. I kind of like to think of a corporate veil as like when people get married, when girls get married, they have that thing and it says they lift it up and you can kiss the bride. That's what I'd look at. So right, this is Gabby's corporate veil. Oh, she has a better smile on. She's looking good. Okay, let's get her swag back on, right? We got her blouse, we got no legs. No, now we got blue legs. Now we got black legs and her skirt. Okay. Now, this is the corporate, yeah, yes, paradise, that it protects personal assets. Now, this is the number one mistake, and you guys all just avoid this, okay? Right? We're treating Gabby. The number one mistake that individuals make, creators make, entrepreneurs make when they have this corporate bill is they don't respect it. right? They don't treat it, they don't take care of it. And I want you guys to understand when you have your LLC or when you have your business, it's almost like a child, it's almost like a baby, it's almost like a pet. It has to be taken care of. And that is super, super, super important, right? And so the number one way people do not take care of their corporate veil, I mean, yeah, their corporate veil, which is their LLC, is they do this. They, well, the fancy word is called a co-mingle. Honestly, don't come at me for my spelling because y'all can kind of see ChatGPT, Grammarly, autocorrect ain't working right here. Okay. So it's not what I say, it's not it's what I mean. Okay. That says commingle. Okay. And essentially what that means is that you are mixing, there's a mix between your personal expenses and income between your business, right? Generally, you have it in one bank account and they're being mixed. The proper way, if you guys don't have this already, is you want to have a personal bank account for your personal income and expenses, and then you want to have a business bank account for your business income and related expenses, and keep those two separate. So income comes in here, right? From however you're making money, income comes in here. If you have to spend money, you have expenses, it comes out of here if it's, business related, which is also called write-offs, which we'll cover next too. And that pretty much how that goes. Now, you may be like, dude, well, I still have some personal bills. I still got some things to take care of. That is fine. To pay yourself, all you do is just transfer the money from your business bank account to your personal bank account. Whether you sell it, whether you do an internal bank transfer, whether you write yourself a check, that is how you're going to pay yourself. All right. So that's essentially what that is. And fun fact, when you're an LLC or you're just a sole proprietorship, there is no real true tax effect paying yourself. A lot of people think that, oh my gosh, I can keep it in this business bank account. Nothing's going to happen. However, that's not the case, which we'll cover as that too. But that's how you're going to pay yourself. There's no tax effect at all. Also, while you're having this LLC, guys, the number one thing, right, when it comes to what I can and cannot write off, right? When we talk about these expenses that are within this business account, this is a common question too, right? What I need you guys to do is you got to create this mindset that your LLC is a production company, right? I like to think of it as a production company. And this is going to be so important, especially if you are ever opening up a bank account, or maybe you're getting a home loan or anything. And you guys have maybe been in this situation where they ask, what's your occupation? Right? Some people say creator. Some people just don't know what to say. Some people say management. It's a very awkward question, and it's just so sad how there is such a stigma around this industry, and it's just sad. We have seen many of our clients, their bank accounts get closed, or they can't get homes, and it's just sad, right? I just hate it. However, going forward, you guys need to be either some type of production company or a management company, right? This is essentially what your LLC is. It is no different from a Netflix, a Stars, or HBO, all those type of things, production or management. That's essentially what it is. Now, and what your LLC is doing, right? And what it's doing with Gabby, it is an imploring Gabby to as the talent, right? And then Gabby may go perform on maybe OnlyFans. It could be like Pornhub. It could be maybe they want to do some IG, all these type of things. However, it's you got to have this mindset that my LLC is a production company, or it's a management company. It is the one in charge of like where we're going to shoot today, how we're going to shoot, right? And it's very easy to see yourself as two, right? Hey, like that's what I do. However, just from the business standpoint, when we're creating this entrepreneur mindset for you guys, it's you got to see your LLC as a production and you yourself as the talent working on behalf of the LLC. Okay, that's so, so, so important. So if you guys understand that, right? If you guys understand at least that part, just type in what letter are we going to use? Type in M, right? If you type in the letter M, right? Got Char typing M, Char, got Mia, got Ramona, Char, got Kim. I love this. Thanks, Kim. You just boosted my level. So now I'm finna go in. Galvia says M. Savannah says, I think Savannah just wiped all of y'all out. Okay. Not only did she put multiple M's, she put the all caps, baby. Like Savannah. Woohoo. Okay, right. So that's really important, guys, production or management. And so when you're going forward, if you're ever going to, whether it's a bank, if you're going to apply for a home or someone's asking you what your occupation is, right? And it's so sad how the answer to this single question could affect the rest of your life. One question could affect whether it's a yes or a no. It's sad, but it's the truth, and there's a way around it. Because I have seen this work, but this is what we tell our clients, and it works. If you say the other thing, I don't know. You own a production company or you own a management company. That is it. That's it. Right? That's what you do. You produce content, right? You own that, right? And you have talent. Boom. That's it. Now, another reason why that's really important to distinguish that, because it's also going to help you to identify what we call write-offs. Write-offs. Woohoo. So write-offs are cool, right? Because they help us save on tax. Uh-oh. You guys see that? What is that? Is that someone? Uh, I think that's Gabby, guys. Oh my, we're helping Gabby, guys. Look, I think that's a smile on her face. Right? We know it's Gabby. Yep, there goes the blue. Now we know it's Gabby. I wasn't sure at first, right? Yeah. Woo, Gabby. Good job, guys. Look at Gabby smiling. Okay, I don't know if you guys can like put the clap emoji. I don't know if you guys can put the emoji, but if you can't put the clap emoji, just type in the letter C. But let's just give a round of applause for Gabby real quick. Like she's smiling right now. Yeah, we got some claps. We got some yeah. Woo. Good job, Gabby. She understands yellow C. She understands what that means. Yeah. Oh, bro, Savannah's just she got the party streamers. Like Savannah's just going in on you guys. Okay. So, so write-offs are really good, guys. Now I want to explain how these kind of how write-offs essentially work. They help you save on tax. They're almost like a coupon. I think that's the best way to explain it, where you get a percentage off. Okay. So it's a write-off, you get a percentage off your taxes. It's not dollar for dollar. In other words, if you have a write-off that is $100, it does not mean you save $100, okay? If that's the case, that is called a tax credit. Tax credit. Tax credits are dollar for dollar. And what we're talking about, tax write-offs, are also called tax deductions. These are kind of used interchangeably. Blah, blah, blah. That word was in my head, but it did not come out like I wanted to. However, it's not what I say, it's what I mean. Okay. So write-offs are a deduction and they're based off a percentage. Credits, you may have heard credits like the child tax credit, like if you have a kid, a baby, that's something else. Tax deductions are write-offs and they are a percentage. Now, all of you guys right now, especially if you're in the States, you can figure out what your percentage is, right? It's not that hard. All you got to do is go look up the tax brackets, right? I would look up the 2025 tax brackets. Look up the 2025 tax brackets. You then want to find your filing status. So some people are single, some people are head of household if you are claiming a dependent, and the other common one is you're married filing jointly. Okay, so you file your filing status and then you find your income, right? About how much you are making, right? And then there's a percentage right there, and that's your code, right? So let's say in Gabby's situation, let's say hers, she looked it up and she found out that her percentage is I know why the lightsaber keeps going up. Because I keep hitting like the letter P to switch between my pen, and I don't know why it wants to bring up a lightsaber. Like I'm trying to figure out how does that mean lightsaber. Anyways, I digress. So in Gabby's situation, it is going to be 30%, right? You guys can all do this. So what this means is that if Gabby spends $100, it's only going to save her. Let me see who's smart in here. If Gabby spends $100 and her percentage is 30%, how much is it going to save her in taxes, guys? Who can maybe figure it out, right? Oh my gosh, you guys are so smart. Let me know if you want a job. Okay, good job, you guys. Yes, it's going to save $30. Okay, if she was in the 10% tax bracket, she spends $100, it's going to save $10. And fun fact, guys, you could also apply this same rule to figure out how much you would owe in tax. So if you made $100, 30%, you're going to pay $30 in tax. Okay. That's another way you can figure it out. So you spend it or you make it. You guys should, everyone by the end of this call, you need to know what your percentage is, what your code is. And it's kind of where you expect to be at on December 31st, 2025. Okay. So that's what a tax write-off, that's what a deduction is. Now, identifying those is generally the next question. Like, okay, now I kind of understand it. What is it? Well, it goes back to understanding that you guys are a production company. Okay. We are a production, or you can consider yourself a management company, right? Right. You're no longer, I mean, you're also the talent and creator, right? However, you are employed on behalf of your business, your LLC. Okay. That's it. So you got to think what are some common, and the word is really ordinary and necessary, right? Ordinary and necessary expenses that a production company or management company may have. Let me see if you guys have any examples. What are maybe some ordinary and necessary or some common expenses that a production company may have? Right? Who's got me? Who's got some examples in the chat? A film set is really good. Yeah, I like that. A film set, right? What else, guys? What else? Who's got some? Oh, I got one. Sometimes they have, management fees. Let's say you actually have a manager, right? Management fees. What else, guys? Um, Maybe a camera, right? We could have a camera. Anybody else has an idea? Where's Savannah? Savannah, come on, step up, Savannah. Where you at? Nails, right? Oh, I need to talk about that. Nails is possibly, right? I'm gonna put a question mark for that one because I gotta cover that with you guys. Nails, makeup, lighting, yep, lighting, travel, right? Travel, location, work, yes, all those are great things, right? Internet bill, absolutely, right? Absolutely. Sets, props, liability coverage, absolutely. All those type editing software, hardware, absolutely. And so when you're asking yourself, what can and cannot write off, ask yourself, what in general, what are some expenses that a production company may have? Right? These are going to be ordinary and necessary expenses. So you got to ask your staff is another one. Absolutely. So that is how a write-off works. And that's generally how you can identify those. So if you're ever unsure, right, you can go to Google, you can go to ChatGPT, and you can ask yourself, does a production company or management company generally have this expense, right? If the answer is yes, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a write-off for you. Okay. Now, if it's unsure, well, we may have to put it in the gray area and you would ask, a tax professional, right? That's when you would have a consult. But all you guys can have flights, yes, cars, is absolutely right. All those type of things, guys. And so when you're thinking of write-offs or things that you can write off maybe towards the end of the year, right, that you want to save on taxes, look at what a production company or a management company may incur. Another important thing, guys, is I never want you just to buy things for a write-off. We never, ever, 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 ever want to do that. We purchase things, right? Because we also want to be smart with our money. We purchase things to help us save time. These are generally what it is: save time or make more money, right? Those are generally why you would incur expense. Because remember, guys, just because you spend 100, let's just say it's $10,000. Just because you spend 10,000 does not mean you're going to save 10,000, right? If you're in a 30% tax bracket, you're only saving 3 grand, right? And we have people that says like, I'm just going to spend all my money at the all the you got to understand that just because you spend that much does not mean you're going to save that much. That's why generally it's not a good idea just to spend money to save on tax. Absolutely not. We're going to be smart here. We're going to use our money wise, and we're going to make sure we're safe on tax. Now, if there's money left over, then we'll talk about some investment opportunities, right? Where can we park our money to help us make more? And that brings me up to a quick tip and fact that I need everyone here to have. If you are sitting on any type of money in a savings account, in your checking account, I've seen some people sitting on like $2 million, some people sitting on $100,000. I've seen some people sitting on maybe like 5,000, right? If you are sitting on any type of money here inside of a checking account, absolutely not. No, 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 no. At the bare minimum, I'm gonna need you to park it in a high yield savings account. Okay. Never have your money just sitting in a checking account. It does nothing there. At the bare minimum, park it in a high yield savings account. I've seen anywhere but they're paying out 5%. Okay. So if you have $100,000 in a high yield savings account at 5%, that's going to give you 5,000 extra dollars just by having it sitting there. Whether if it's in a checking account, honestly, they may got some fees. You may lose about $35 a month, right? So, that's super, 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 super important. Okay, so real quick, because I know we're coming up on time and I know you guys may have questions. I want to cover just a few more things. And I'm gonna try to speed through it. So bear with me, lock in, and and you're welcome, EA. Let me know if you're ready, guys. Just type in the letter R if you're ready for just this speed run, right? We gotta go through this. Type in the letter R so I know you guys are ready. R, we got some R's. Yes. Okay, cool. Let's get after it. Okay. So remember earlier I talked about that gray item thing, right? That I don't know. So the IRS has something called the audit technique guide, and it pretty much tells the public and auditors how to audit the entertainment industry or how to audit creators. Okay. Now, one of the biggest things that people try to write off, especially someone who considers themselves a lifestyle creator, right? One of the things they try to write off is personal image, right? Personal, like, image, or maintaining an image. This can be things like we said, like I think you guys said nails. It could be things like makeup. It could be things like what else do we have? We could have BBLs. We could have breast augmentation, all of that type of stuff. Like when you're enhancing your personal image, it's just This is always going to be a gray area item, guys. And if you're considering writing something that's like that all, right, just consult, like reach out to us, hit us up if you have a tax professional, like that type of stuff needs to be consulted on because 9 times out of 10 is not going to be a write-off if you do not do it the right way. Okay, so let me go. So something like nails. Okay, I'm gonna go real quick, like something like nails, right? For this, if you normally get your nails done anyways, like you would get your nails done whether you're making content or not, it's not going to be a write-off, right? Same thing with makeup. If it's something you incur or do already, whether you make content or not, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be a write-off. I hate that it's that way. And you may hear people say online, you can write it off, you can write. Look, you can put anything on a tax return. Okay. However, it's what you get away with, right? Because just because you put it on doesn't mean you're automatically going to get audited. So a lot of people are just getting away with it if you're hearing that. Okay. Now in order for like I'll talk about makeup. In order for this to be written off, like makeup, I need you to have you got to have makeup, and we have a lot of girls that say like, oh my gosh, I never wear makeup, right? I only make makeup when I'm wearing content. That's fine. I need you to have 2 sets of makeup if this is the case, right? You're going to have your content makeup, right? Content makeup, and you're going to have your personal makeup. If you are using the same type of makeup for content and personal, the same thing, it's not going to be a write-off. And I need you guys to think about it like this, right? When I go back and I'm telling you guys to consider yourself as a production company, right? You have, and let's say someone's about to shoot it. Oh my gosh, her arm fell off. Let's say someone's about to shoot a commercial, right? Generally, they go on set, right? They go on set, they don't have anything on, and they have like a powder room or a green room, and someone's there to like do their makeup, right? Hey, yeah, like go do their makeup, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, smile. Someone's generally there to do that, right? And when they are done, right, they go on stage, they perform. When they are done, generally it gets taken off. Okay. Same thing with like a costume. Someone's performing at the Super Bowl, right? They get there and they're plain clothes. They get dressed, and then when they leave, it gets taken off. That is the biggest distinguishment. It cannot it cannot be used outside of content, right? So if these are your nails, and this is what makes it very hard and difficult. If it's your nails, it's your makeup and your hair, and you're also wearing it to go to the grocery store, right? It's not something you're removing. Going to the grocery store, going to do personal things, the IRS deems that you have a personal benefit from that, right? They only want you to have a business benefit from that. And so that's why if you've ever been on a commercial or a scene, it's actually removed, right? And so that's a big thing right there. Now, there may be some one-off cases where you have like a crazy shoot, right? And you gotta do all this crazy stuff. That makes sense. Or if you have like nails that are just like absolutely crazy, right? There's this one case, you guys can look it up. Her name is Chesty Love. Those are supposed to be some breast augmentations. Her stuff, she got some huge, boom, bonkers, like massive, right? And she was an exotic dancer, and the IRS actually came to her and be like, nope, you can't write that off, right? Because you're getting a personal benefit from it. Yeah, it's helping you make more money. However, there's a personal benefit from it. Now, her name's Chesty Love. So I want you, that's you guys' homework, guys. I want you guys to look up Chesty Love. Okay. Go look it up when we get done with this call. Her name's Chesty Love, and the IRS deemed no. Well, she took him to court. She took him to tax court, and she actually won. Right? She actually won because it was determined that if she could take off those huge things when she got done, she would, right? She said it's uncomfortable, it hurts her back, it's actually a burden. She honestly got it done just for that, right? So that's another thing that you can ask yourself, and you can be very honest with yourself. If you're ever doing this type of things or getting that type of work done, do you feel like you're going to have any personal benefit from it, any personal gain from it outside of making content? If that question is yes, you got to hit me up and we got to get a consultation in to see if we can still or figure out a way to write it off. Right. However, when you ask yourself that question and the answer is yes, you got to be hesitant. That's going to be something called a gray area, and and what am I trying to say? Yeah, get a consult and get a question on it. I think we're almost at time. I think I had 45 minutes. So real quick, let me just open it up to see if you have any questions. And when if you ever just cut me off whenever I'm done. You guys can just cut me off. Be like, okay, dude, thanks. Because I will go on and because I really love this stuff. Kim, can I write off my wig as long as I can, but with my nails, I can. Okay, so yeah, so let's talk about so Kim, in your case, so wigs, okay, so wigs, I like that idea. Okay, so we have creators that do this, right? So wigs is more than likely going to be yes, especially if it's a part of your content. Generally, what I like, especially if it's being stored in your home, right? If it's being stored in your home, you got to create a dedicated space in your home, right? This goes lingerie, clothing, all of that. You need to create a dedicated space in your home where those items are stored, right? So if you have two closets, store, oh my gosh, that's a huge arrow. Store your personal stuff in your personal storage, store all the other business stuff and so you got it. So do us a favor and just keep that separated because that also helps distinguish. So even if you have like a dresser or maybe it's a particular drawer in a dresser, remember going back to commingling, we don't want to mix any of those type of things. So for the wig side, if you're wearing it for content, you're taking it off when you're done, you're okay. As far as the nails, guys, I will just be very honest with you right now. As far as the nails, 9 times out of 10, that answer is going to be no. However, let's say, I don't know, let's say your content really has to do with just hands, right? It's hand focused and like it is that's a possibility that could raise it. Let's say your nails are just like absolutely crazy. They're not just acrylic nails. Maybe I don't know, they're just absolutely bonkers. Like you have donut nails. Maybe you have donuts on top of your nails. They're crazy, right? Think Chesty Love with the huge, like breast augmentation. They're absolutely crazy. That's something else that can possibly um raise the benefit or chances of you writing it off. Or maybe you're working with a particular brand. Okay, this is another case where we've seen it. You're working with a particular brand, and they're like, "Hey, for this content for the shoot, we want you to wear our branded colors, right? So I need you to go get your nails done, and I need it to match our brand. Those are some things that could raise it on the nails end. Yeah, so like the foot one, like if you do foot content, that's another thing that could raise it. Yes, I like that. So think about that. Like think about it's really like focused like on that. So foot's another one that could raise it. And that's why I say, guys, if you are in this area where you're having these personal things like whether it's hair, makeup, all that, get a consult because this is not a blanket statement where one fits all. It's very situation based because where it can apply to someone and it cannot apply to someone. That's why you may hear somebody online say, "Yeah, you can write off your makeup, your haircut." It does not apply to everyone, guys. It's case by case. So please don't take that as a very blanket statement. Um, hey guys, yes, 40 minutes. So yeah, becoming can. Hey guys. Okay, real quick, let me see what else. Your sessions. Okay, I have another 15 minutes. Okay, cool. Not sure if you missed, but wanted to check again on cost estimates on tax service. One is in Gabby's position. We're not bringing the team in, but significantly less. Yeah. So real quick, I I'm always going to recommend our memberships. Okay, we do have memberships. Right, we do have memberships. We have a tier one, right? A tier one where it's literally everything we take care of, right? That tier one starts at it's 4,000 a year or it's $400 a month. Uh this one just saves you $800. Our tier two, right? Our tier two is going to be 6,000. Are tier two. And the difference between tier one and tier two is this is very strategy based. This is where you're sitting down, you're having calls to help you save on tax. And the tier one is just we're taking care of all the basics for you, like your quarterly taxes, your LLC is good. The only difference between this one's you're going to get like a strategy. So, for example, you could talk with me, right? And we're going to sit there and like maybe come up with a plan to help you save on tax. And then our highest tier, we have something called our tier X. And this one goes to about 28,000 a year. And these are generally people who are they're paying like um they're generally paying about 150, right? More in taxes. So we have some people paying like $3 million in taxes. So if you're paying a lot in taxes and your income is generally your profits are around this range. We have our tier X, and those are just more advanced strategies. Think of that like as more of the luxury item where it's really like because we also talk about investments right here. So for sure that. And then if you do want to become a client, if you're interested, you can just go to Duke.tax. It's Duke tax and just fill out that form there, right? And I'll tell you what, guys, if you guys sign up, and I don't know, there'll be a question, right? If you just mention the word pineapple, I'll probably just try to throw you in. I'll help you guys say something on it. You know what I'm saying? Because I can do that because I am the CEO. So if you guys are if you're interested in any of these things, you know, and you fill out that form, you get signed up, I'll try to like save you guys anywhere between maybe $500 to $1,000 just for showing up. And I had
Hey,
fun.
Duke, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but we do have Red Evie waiting,
That's
so
all you had to do, right? I am
that's
out.
fine. I was letting you just wrap yourself up.
Thanks for
So,
having me, guys. For sure, if you want to become a client, save some money, mention pineapple, and I had so much fun. Bye, guys.
awesome. Thank you, guys. You can follow him on Duke Loves Taxes on Instagram. But now we have Red Evie, who I believe has actually worked with Duke. How money skills set me free with Red Evie. So, Red, I'll let you take over.
Hey. Yeah, he can always finish if he needs to. He's a better speaker than I am for sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear. If you guys want to
Okay.
present together, you're very welcome.
Okay, cool. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I've worked with Duke pretty much since I started my stuff. Recently, I've become very confused because my net worth is like doubled since I've worked with him, almost tripled now. But I would say without someone helping you along, honestly, a lot of the time things just get super confusing. And then there's a lot of things when you're running multiple businesses that can just fall through the cracks and having no idea. Like recently, I was super confused about some of my businesses with bookkeeping and stuff, and I realized I was missing entire accounts. And I was like, oh, that probably should have been fixed, but without a helping hand, I probably would have gotten myself in some type of IRS fraud without even knowing because the IRS just expects you to know how to do your taxes. However, nobody teaches you how to do your taxes. So it's not a foolproof situation there. But over the last couple of years, I've really just tried to move any of my active income into investing in assets and then use the asset money as my like daily spending for like my personal stuff is really how I've tried to do it. It's been working really well over the last few years, but OnlyFans write-off, you have to be creative with things. There's a lot of things that nobody really ever thinks of. Like that kind of stuff, like makeup, hair, like clothing, that kind of stuff. But really, when it comes into like real estate, there's a lot more creative things you can do, especially with different things like, repairs or, situations where maybe you're buying like a rundown house and you have to fix it up a little bit, or even like the interest on the loan is also really helpful. So there's a lot of different things that I really just never thought of. So having someone to guide you is super, super helpful because you could literally get yourself in so much trouble by just not knowing. And like watching stuff on the internet can only help you so much because not everything on the internet is fully, true there. So I would say a helping hand is very, but I've always just tried to invest as much as I can for the future because, you don't know how many times a year that, things could happen, whether it's like some issue with a property or mainly your own band or you get a violation or something like that. So things can always happen. So it's really good to have like a little bit of a, I wouldn't say cushion necessarily, but I would say like a backup plan is super, super helpful. But yeah, there's a lot of different options there.
Yeah, I'm still here, Beck, if you need me. Can you guys hear me
Oh, you're
too?
still there. Right?
Yeah. Um, and so yeah, in Becca's situation, just to kind of like piggyback off that, just type like the letter H if you can hear me. H stands for here. Or just yeah, we might as well just do the whole alphabet at
H.
this. Yeah. And so yeah, Becca's situation is well, she's great, she I think what's really important and especially what's very interesting, what's very enlightening about Becca, she has a very entrepreneur mindset, right? It's not just like this is so important too, guys. I think I've been doing this and working with creators in the industry maybe like 8, 9 years now, and I've seen it all. I've seen like my favorite like Vine creators, like like growing up, like and all of a sudden they're clients, but they have millions and millions of followers, and now they're just like dead broke, right? And I saw that, and I was just, and I remember they came to us, and this is a huge creator. Like I think everyone knows them. And I know they came to us, they paid for our services, and things were just so hard that, I mean, we started it and everything, but things were just so hard for them that they're like, hey, we need that money back. Well, can we, like, they asked for a refund, even if we had did everything, and like, I would just give it back to them in full because I'm just like, man, I feel bad for you, even though we had did the work. So that's really important, guys, is that when you are earning this money, especially if it's coming in like and it's bigger than what you're used to in its past, you gotta diversify. You gotta take this money and figure out ways to make more money, right? It's just not taking this money and just, just fucking it off, right? Excuse my language, but that's just the best way to put it. Just blowing it off on just absolutely just dumb shit. Like, don't do that because I don't want you guys to end up in that situation. And ever since I saw that, right, I've always like promised and like taught to creators like dude, we gotta find something, right? Because who knows, this thing could be gone tomorrow. We've seen that TikTok get scared, right? That can happen with any platform. It's just immediately cut off. And so the good thing about Becca, she started with, I think she had like these Teslas, she was doing rentals, and she hopped into real estate. And real estate's always a good and safe option. And a very neat thing about this, guys, is that when you are exploring ways to diversify your income, the expenses that you go towards that are generally going to be a write-off. It's going to be something that you can write off. And essentially, I'm gonna share my screen again, and I'll pass it back to, of course, I'll pass it back to Becca. Let me see. I told you guys. Okay, so I think my screen is up. I don't know if can you guys see it? It's a whiteboard. Just type in W, right? If you guys can see the whiteboard. Type in W. Make sure. W. Okay. You guys see it, right? So real estate is always it's a really good and safe option. And I know I have and I speak to a lot of creators and a lot of adult creators as well. And I'm like, they're interested. I just sent it right to Beck. I'm like, this girl knows what she's doing. I can see it. She has like her income has grown. And she has a great safety net. She's just diversifying. She's building her net worth. It's just so beautiful to see where you're taking the money that you're not used to earning and you're living at your same means. You're not, okay, she can do a little something every now and then. Like, I ain't gonna be mad at you, right? However, we still gotta have a plan. And so in Becca's situation, like, she purchases real estate and she does like Airbnb. So these are really like great things, guys. And think about this. I mean, I gotta be very transparent here. This is a lot more complicated than I'm about to explain it. but I'm going to explain it this way just to get the point across. The way I'm about to explain it is not exactly how it works, but I'm just doing it to not lose you guys. And I need you guys to follow me, okay? Because this is the way I'm about to explain it is not how it absolutely works. However, if you're interested, we can do a consult. So let's say in Becca's situation, let's say I'm just gonna throw a number out there without revealing truly what she does. I'm just gonna throw a number out there. Let's just say Becca brings in like 1 million, right? And let's say, no, you know what? Let me make it a lot easier. Let me make the math a lot easier because I don't want to get a lot of numbers in here. Let's say, oh my gosh, there's the lightsaber again. Okay, so let's say it is actually, I don't know, I'm just gonna say 100,000. Okay, so let's say it's $100,000 like brought in. That's great. Now, if we look into the situation and we apply state, federal taxes, guys, when you add up all the state and federal taxes, the highest that you can ever pay is about, I think I did the math, about 53%, anywhere between 50 to 53%. And this is like the highest of the highest. I'm talking about state tax, local tax, California tax, all that, right? So let's just say it's 50%, okay? Well, she made $100,000, right? And now she has to pay $50,000 in tax, right? So that's what her liability is, $50,000, right? Now, one thing that we do, like with Becca on her strategy side, and really she does it herself, we just help like facilitate it, is we look at purchasing properties like Airbnb or in investing to that. So let's say she goes out and she purchases a property for, I don't know, let's say she gets a loan for maybe $300,000, right? And the property is worth $300,000. She gets a loan for it. Yay, it's great and good. Maybe she does some remodeling for like another $50,000. Well, the cool thing about how tax guys work and write-offs, you may hear like, oh my gosh, how does like Amazon and people like Trump pay no tax? It really starts with real estate, because when it comes to this, guys, you are always writing off the asset. I think that's really important. I need you guys to understand that. Your write-off is the asset. It's never the cash. It is never the loan. You are writing off the value of the asset. So whether you purchase a property in cash, whether you finance it, your write-off is going to be exactly the same. If you put $0 down on this home, or if you paid a full $350,000 in cash, your write-off is going to be exactly the same. So this is why I always encourage people to go the finance option, because you're going to have more money in your bank and it does not change your write-off. So in this case, let's say it's $350,000. Real estate has really weird rules how you can write stuff off. But let's just say we do all the math and all the hard, complicated tax stuff. And let's say we identified, I don't know, let's say we identified $150,000, right, in write-offs. Okay. Well, instead of paying this $50,000 to the IRS, she put this $50,000 into some real estate, right? Now, and then we generated $150,000, okay? And so what we can do here is offset that whatever the OnlyFans income and things like that. And so we're taking the money that we are earning, we are investing it into other things that can help us make more money. It could be a separate business. It could be real estate. There's so many avenues out there. But instead of paying your tax to the government, how about you reinvest it into yourself? And so by reinvesting into yourself, we find a way to completely wipe out this income. There is a zero balance due, and that's what we try to get back at. And a lot of our creators, there's a zero balance due to the IRS. Now you have an asset that you own that in future years, right, it's going to continue to pay you, right? Maybe in year one, it's a slow year, you make 10,000. Maybe in year 2, you really got it going, and now you're making 30,000, right? And you keep doing that. And I always encourage our creators to purchasing at least one real estate property a year. If you can do it, we're going to do it. At minimum, that's my rule. You got to get at least one property per year. And right, maybe by year 4, a lot of our creators doing this are easily making $100,000 a year. Guess what? Doing nothing, right? Doing nothing. They don't have to turn on a camera. They don't have to go buy lighting and equipment, but it's reinvesting the income that you make to help you make more money. And that's essentially what she was really explaining there right there. So you got 2 options, right? You can take this $100,000, and I'll turn it back to you, Becca, real soon. You can take this $100,000 that you made, right? You can go do things like go take trips, right? Or go buy maybe some designer, right? And all that type of stuff. Well, that does not change this $50,000 tax bill, dude. Right? That doesn't go anywhere. And especially these are not write-off if they're personal related, right? And this happens so much time. Let's say over here, all this stuff you end up paying $80,000 with this stuff, and it's not something you can write off. Well, instead of 100,000, now you're left with 20,000. Okay, you're at $20,000 in the bank, right? And let's say just content slows down. This $50,000 liability does not go away. So when April comes around, and you have a $50,000 balance, and you only got $20,000 in the bank, and you still got personal bills to take care of, it is a very scary situation. It's a very unsettling situation. And a lot of people end up using a psychological defense mechanism. If anyone studies psychology, the most common psychological defense mechanism, which are natural ways that the body and the mind protects itself, is something called avoidant. That's the number one defense mechanism that is used in a situation. Oh, I just avoid it, right? Maybe they go 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And the longer you go, the higher this goes, right? So, and they get ugly, right? They can end up doubling, right? We have penalties and interest. Now you're at $100,000, right? And we still got you. So this is why I do not encourage you guys, if you get that money, do a little something. I'm not going to be mad at you, okay? However, before you do a little something, prioritize looking out for your future self. It's not where you're at today. It's where you're going to be at 3 to 5 years from now. So instead of taking that $100,000 and just, just effing it off, right? Let's go do something with it. Maybe let's take $50,000 and let's go put it into real estate. Now, if we do it
Hey,
the right way, we're writing this off. Yeah, go ahead.
So sorry, darling. We've actually run quite a bit over, so I'm gonna have to cut you off. I'm afraid. I'm
Oh
so
my goodness.
sorry.
Sorry,
I'm so
Beck. I just took up
sorry.
all your time.
I'm just gonna jump in there, and I'm gonna say that I've got a fan that's got a Christian Louboutin fetish. What am I gonna do about that one?
What's that?
I've got a fan that's got a Christian Louboutin fetish. What am I gonna do about
Oh
that?
my, we got to find a way to make a content page about designers and Christian Louboutin, in where she just has this whole social media page about this. And she shares her fetish, she shares her dreams, and then she gains following, and then hopefully she can get a brand deal with them. So we have to
Awesome.
make it a business somehow. And there's always creative
Absolutely.
ways.
Well, I get him to actually send them to me direct at the moment, but yeah, I'm always looking for a workaround.
Come here, because that's all
I
I
will.
do.
I'll be hitting you up. And if anybody else wants to hit him up as well, all you need to do is just go to your Instagram. So yeah, that is Duke Loves Taxes. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for joining us. Remember, we are completely donation led. So if you do want to donate, or if you want to seek any help, go to any more of our workshops or events, please go to pineapplesport.org. So thank you guys very much. And if you haven't already done our cream pie challenge, please have a look. You can find me on Instagram as well. I'm Char.Borley. I've already done the cream pie challenge. Please, everyone else, do it. Get involved. Get on our website and please donate and please stay involved. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us.